7.8, the sums and differences of rational expressions. In the previous section, we learned how to multiply and divide rational expressions, and in this section, we're going to add and subtract them. So if you recall back to Algebra 1, and at the beginning of this year, we talked about two fraction rules. And that first one is A plus B all over C is equal to A over C plus B over C. Additionally, A over C minus B over C is equal to A minus B all over C. If we have two fractions that have different denominators, they can be added and subtracted by transforming the denominator. So let's look at an example of a subtraction of a rational expression. So if we have 7x minus 1 all over x squared minus 2x minus 3 minus 6x all over x squared minus x minus 2. The first thing we want to do is factor those denominators. And to do that, we're going to leave our numerator alone, 7x minus 1, all over x minus 3 times x plus 1, minus, leaving this numerator alone as well, all over x minus 2 times x plus 1. All I've done so far is factor. And now my next goal is to figure out the least common multiple of the denominators. We want the same denominator. And in order to do this, I'm going to take my first part of the expression, 7x minus 1, all over x minus 3 times x plus 1. And I'm going to multiply this by x minus 2 all over x minus 2. And that is because I'm trying to find a least common multiple. And if I notice on the other expression, there is an x minus 2. So, on the other side, I'm going to take 6x all over that denominator I already factored. But I'm going to multiply this one times x minus 3 all over x minus 3. And the reason for that being is that both x minus 2 over x minus 2 and x minus 3 over x minus 3 are forms of 1. They will cancel to be 1, and that's why we can do that. So then in the next step, I now have a least common multiple. And I can combine my numerators. So 7x minus 1 times x minus 2 becomes 7x squared minus 15x plus 2 all over x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. And on the right side, 6x times x minus 3 becomes 6x squared minus 18x, all over the same least common multiple of x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. And so now we can combine our numerator and our denominator and simplify. So then, in our numerator, we are left with 7x squared minus 15x plus 2 minus 6x squared minus 18x. And we have this same denominator, which can be combined, x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. And now we can combine. And we are left in the numerator with x squared plus 3x plus 2 all over x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. We're going to factor our numerator, and that factors into x plus 1 times x plus 2. Our denominator stays the same, and that's x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. And if you recall from the last chapter, we can cancel if we have the same values in the numerator and the denominator. We have an x plus 1 in the numerator and the denominator. So then our final simplified fraction can be written in two forms. The first one could be x plus 2 all over x minus 3 times x minus 2, or you can go ahead and multiply that out, and your final solution becomes x plus 2 all over x squared minus 5x plus 6. And that, my friends, is how we find the rational expression for a difference.